Okay, so what I've done here is I've masked out, this will be the area that's going to light up with the back plate. This will be the bus bar area around the outside. Now, you'll notice I've got an outer border and an inner border. So what's going to happen, once we paint layer 1 on there and that bus bar goes around, then I will be able to remove this so that when I do the insulating layer, it's actually overlapping the back plate. It only has to go by a little bit, but we need to seal the circuit by doing that. So removing that, when I put layer 2 on, the insulating layer, it'll just go a little bit further past. So I've sort of done a double mask up so that when I pull that off, we've got the gap that we want. Yesterday I told you about putting 2 connections on the bus bar. We were doing that, I just forgot to cut that little section out. So, you know, just as a rule of thumb, this is a good size bus bar for something this space. It's all overkill. You actually get away with, you know, 6 mil coming in here and stuff, but I like to play it safe because there's nothing worse than running out of energy across it. All right, well, I'll put the copper tabs on and show what we do next. So I'll do my best to try and hold the camera and show you what I'm doing. So when you get this copper tape out, get the stuff from JCar. It's actually a tiny bit thicker than stuff that you buy online, and it's much nicer to use. Okay, so I don't know if I can. Right, so I'm going to stick that sucker on there. I'll have to get back to you. So yeah, well, when you pick that piece out, so sometimes you buy it and it'll have kinks in it and things. Try and get a smooth bit. It'll be a lot better for you in the long run. The kinks, you know, this stuff tears really easily. Yeah, so when you lay that copper tape down, you want it to be smooth. You don't want any kinks in it and stuff. It's okay to do it again. If you get a kink in it or something, just pull it off, start again. You just want it really smooth. So what we're going to do, that's going to be number 1. I'm going to flip this panel over. I'll trim these off, make sure to join these 2 together. If you ever cut this copper tape and join it to another bit of copper tape, you've got to solder that connection as well, because there's a protective layer on the outside of this copper that we're going to rub off, but you don't want to rub it off unless you need to. So this is actually insulated at the moment, and we'll smash a little bit of clear coat on that later too. Okay, so that's pretty decent gauge wire, but you know, we don't want these things to come off, right? And we are going to arrow dye them. So I'll teach you a tiny little bit about soldering right now. Try and hold this. Okay, so you know, it's always a good idea to twist these. Twist these together so they don't spray it everywhere. Sometimes, depending on what it is, sometimes I'll actually pull it out flat to solder it down, but there's so many times that you get one wire sticks up in the air to be a pain in the ass. You're better off just twisting them up like this. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to end up laying those on like that. You know, we'll tape it all into position and things like that. I'll show you how we do that. But before you ever solder onto these copper tape, it's always a good idea to load up the wires with solder first, so that you're not sitting there waiting. This stuff's very thin, so load this up with solder first, and then when you get these into position, you should be able to just tap it and the solder will transfer. And if you put too much heat into this copper, it'll melt and get damaged. So I'll record me doing that in a second. Okay, I'll just solder onto these bad boys. Right, so we load these up as much as we can first. So, nice and coated. Right. Yep. Get some tape. Okay, so bend the tabs down just slightly. Right, so we've got it like that. We're just going to load this up as quick as we can. Bang, bang, bang. Same with this one. Alright, remember I told you we have to solder these guys. Right, so the heat of the solder melts the insulation on there. Yeah, so doing the same thing for this little helmet, because obviously I can tell you now, when you pull the helmet apart, for this demonstration, I'm not going to worry about how to get the wires down underneath inside the skirt, because I've got to pull the whole guts of the helmet apart. And I'm just making this up so my brother can paint a bit on the top side here, so you can see the bus bar going around it, and the centerpiece will line up. See how I've sort of put those down really carefully without any wrinkles. I've left the backing paper on it just there. So what I'm going to do is just flip it over, just give us a second. Yeah, so explain something else about this. Just got to let it go where it goes. If it kicks off to the side, well, it is what it is. You can trim it later. You know, so they don't always go straight on the back side. Just worry about getting them straight on the front side. Break that coating off. Alright, so that was just 3 coats, 50% overlap. This one's a tiny bit shitty, right? So that's good. All we got to do is make sure that we sand those little nipples off. This one's pretty good. This one's almost perfect. I'm doing these outside, mate. You know, it's got a couple of nipples or garbage or dirt or some shit in it. That's all right, as long as we identify it. Yeah, doing a little helmet here. Yeah, cool. All right, so we've removed the gaps, and this will be the outer gap. So once this dries a little bit more, I'll just rub along these edges, get that little sharp lip off, and we'll put the dielectric or second layer on. So now I've gone around and masked out the bus bar, because we're going to need to pick up off that later, and I expose these bits because they're not going to light up anyway. We want to paint the insulating stuff on as much stuff as possible. So this is my technique. We leave all that sort of stuff exposed, so it doesn't matter if it's fucking insulated, because it will be picking up the power from all the way around. Same thing on all of these. Same thing with the helmet. So I come down, I'm going to wash the bottom of that with the insulating layer. I'm not going to bother spraying the colour there, but I'll get the insulating layer over everything anyway. Okay? Daytime, but I got a big UV. I just know Doing this, it'll be these 3 layers of everything. Just going to overlap all half them. I don't know, that's really helped me. And put the final layer on after the anchor. This is daytime at the moment. Pretty successful, really. So these are long life whites, they look a little bit blue now, but I'm going to tint those orange. Here we go, we got 4 guards. Yeah, the daytime, that's where it gets a little darker. We'll show you these. Might send them off to go and get the clear coat now though. Okay, so I'll put a bit of clear coat on. I've just noticed something actually. I got 1 left guard, 2 left guards, 3 left guards, 1 right guard. So, brother scored a spare. Brother scored. Oh, there you go. Gloss is starting to shine up. So yeah, look, all of them. They're not the nicest colour when they're finished. So you always should put a little tin on it and things like that. But you know, as you can see, I didn't do this in any sort of special conditions. I've done this outside in winter. And yeah, again, we're still inside while it's still daytime, mate. So, well, mate, I think we turned out right. So I'll get my brother to put a cool design on that. Let the clear coats do their thing till tomorrow. Then I'll put candy orange on the sides, and then I'll stencil out my LuminAuz indicator. Oh yeah, close the back door.